back for another episode of the Bad Ideas podcast with Dragos and. How'd I do that time?
Hey Nick,
Pretty close?
thank you very much for inviting me to this one. And I'm looking further to have a chat with you. Definitely it's going to be fun.
You rattled me before the show when you said I was top 5% of pronouncing your name, and I feel like I screwed it up, but hopefully I was close. We're almost there.
Yeah, don't worry about that. You're way much closer than a lot of other people.
All right. It's important. So you're the CEO of SynCubes. What does SynCubes do?
We do, in a few words, Pentest as a service. We are a Pentest as a service company doing offensive security services. I've been trying to keep it simple for everyone to understand it, but let's say we are doing hopefully in the right way. And without the fluff on the table, like, let's say, the cybersecurity industry have seen in the last 15, 20 years.
Doing it the right way. So basically, you make sure that people can't steal our stuff. That's the goal, as much as possible.
Exactly. We are trying to be sure that what it was not stolen already is still there. And there is still something to protect.
Yeah, it's a wild space because I think it's one of those few where the person who evaluates if you're safe is often the person responsible for keeping you safe. But there isn't really infrastructure for someone to look over the shoulder. So as you point out, there's a lot of service providers that are like, oh yeah, we'll protect you. And like no one can tell if they're actually doing anything or not.
Yeah, well, it's always it's the funny thing with the cybersecurity industry, especially in the offensive security space. Let's say pen testing and that kind of stuff. It is somewhere at the edge of the snake oil, and as a client, it's really challenging to understand. Okay, are these guys are really doing what they're saying they are doing, or what kind of how can I be sure that at the end of whatever engagement with such companies, I'm getting some sort of return on investment in terms of for a decent period of time. I am sure that no one actually, definitely is going to be a lot of effort involved for someone to get me popped as a organization. It's always is a challenge from our perspective to provide that kind of assurance, because actually there is no assurance in reality. If someone it's investing a lot of time in it, it's trying to get into your organization, is going to do it. The reality, it's the main difference, it's the blast radius, that specific, let's say, adversary will benefit once he's getting in, how much damage can do. And I would say that this is where this should be one of the main differentiators between the security vendors, like explain the clients, hey, okay, we kind of understand that there is no 100% assurance for, in the cybersecurity space because reasons, but the reality, you are measuring the good job that specific vendor did by how they are trying to tell you and explain the recommendation they did or whatever they found. Is going to limit to the maximum the blast radius. Let's say that specific threat actor might benefit once he is inside your that specific organization. If that makes any sense. This is often something which is not very properly detailed as a result of any offensive security engagement. It's more like we found 20 cross-site scripting wherever, and the client is fixing all of them, but this is pretty much where the relationship is stopping between, in general, again, this is pretty much where the relationship is stopping, which is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And everyone...
Let me rephrase real quick. So you guys are offensive penetration testing and pen testing. To explain that to viewers who might not know, so you guys proactively try to find gaps.
Yes.
And identify for the company. So that's what you mean by offensive. So versus just saying, oh yeah, you're secure. Like you guys are actually trying to find the holes so they see where they are and kind of plug them up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not only just that, because again, there's many vendors they are doing that. It's more like trying to explain customers based on the business vertical where how fast they're gonna get hit or under what circumstances they get hit. So let me tell you something. If you are looking at, let's say, as an example, at weekly ransomware trends for in the United States, you're gonna see that on the first place there is, as far as I remember, this week is manufacturing, meaning that this kind of business verticals there they have been hit the hardest. when you have a client in from that business vertical, you are working with that specific client, and you are adapting, your testing tactics to that specific business vertical, and the issues the findings you are outlining with him. You are trying to explain, hey, listen, this week your business vertical is number one for ransomware threat actor, meaning that any issues like in the future based on the CVSS 4.0 used to be, let's say, medium or low. We need to elevate them on at least and assess them from a different perspective, and elevate them a little higher, because you are trying to raise that kind of awareness for your business model, because it's definitely its number one target this week, or maybe for the next couple of weeks on the ransomware operation. So basically, there is it has to be more like attention spent by organization, and we help this organization as well with assisting them in we are going even like a fixing stuff for them if necessary, and this is the way how we help them out. So it's not like okay, we found these issues, whatever you have to do, we deal with that.
You actually help them. So you guys will come in, you'll run tests, you'll find the holes, and you'll help them fix them.
Yeah, if they need that, we help them to fix them, because we at the bottom line, we are all of us, we are system engineers. We are engineers. Before going to the cybersecurity, used to be people which build stuff. So you can't break if you don't know how to build it, right? So it's I mean, you can, but it's definitely knowing how to build it. It's offering you, that kind of cutting edge knowledge, understanding how to do different bits and pieces. So this is where we believe that there is a lot of missing links from all the picture. Everyone is finding, but okay, so who is helping me out one way or another to fix it? Because I don't have time, skill set, a lot of that kind of stuff.
That's great. That's a great business. And you work with companies all over the world, because you're in New Zealand, right?
Currently, yes, I'm in New Zealand. Most of our clients are in the United States from obvious reasons. I used to work with pretty much all my life, I work with US companies. So, yeah, I represent US companies' interests in different places in the world, from Middle East and so on. So, yeah, I'm very used with US market space.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, big need, big risk. All right. Well, we have you here. We know what you do. And now we know you identify the problems proactively, you present them to the customer, and then you guys solve them. So you guys kind of know both ends of cybersecurity. So I wonder if the team found us a cybersecurity bad idea to talk about today. So the plan is I'll reveal the bad idea, then you and I'll make fun of it for a couple minutes. And naturally, these things tend to point us in the direction of something potentially good. So hopefully there's a kernel of delight in this one. So you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's see what we got today. So today, our bad idea it's called FishMe. It's a monthly subscription service that sends you genuine phishing emails to your inbox, genuine phishing emails to your inbox, helping you get used to being phished so you won't be surprised when it happens for real. So it's like training. What do you think? What's your reaction?
It's a double-edged sword, honestly. I mean, yeah, I'm seeing there's a lot of similar businesses out there, honestly.
Like cybersecurity training businesses? Yeah.
What it was always something like, okay, so let me start with explaining, with the fish. Fish is it's the most used method for, let's say, adversaries to get into an organization internal network, because it's much easier to find someone which is clicking a link with a great offer, a war, whatever. There is way more complex fishes nowadays, and I used to build fishes for around 7 years ago for different red teaming campaigns. So in a red teaming engagements, there's the team which is doing the red teaming engagement. Usually, if you have a highly specialized red teaming team, there is people which are highly specialized in doing phishing, and they know how to do social engineering and understand different. It's very similar to a military unit. So there's also people there like highly specialized in understanding different environments, people like with absolutely amazing knowledge in building stuff for Windows, and then people they know how to deal with the Unix systems and so on. So Usually a red teaming, solid red teaming cell, it is between 3 people and 5 people.
All right.
And all of them, let's say, they are working together, like acquiring that target and compromising at the end for that specific client. So I used to
Wait,
do
so
this
they
kind
get
of phishing.
hired? So like a competitive business will hire a team to kind of break in? Isn't that
Yeah.
illegal?
I
Maybe.
maybe. I mean, there is an interesting story, especially if you are doing red teaming in the United States. You have to be really cautious in what state you are doing and what you are doing. If you remember, in Texas a while ago, there were 2 guys doing some sort of physical red teaming to a company. They used to have that kind of free get out of jail envelope you have to wear with you every single time, day and night, if you are doing that kind of thing. Because if you are getting caught, you have to show to the police, hey, listen, the company employed me to do this. So basically, I'm not necessarily, a bad guy, and it's pretty much like a monopoly, get free out of jail ticket. However, something turned really bad for that 2 guys. And as far as I remember, I can't remember 100% accurate now, but they did some sort of, they served a couple of months in jail, maybe, because it went really bad in that specific circumstance. So they got caught. Yeah, they had a lot of issues. The point is, when you are doing red teaming, US, I mean, you have to be really cautious legal wise and wherever you are doing. So I would say that is the first type for the first start. Like in Intel, you have to get, once you are staying, let's say, in Montana, and you are doing red teaming in Texas, you have to read the law and understand different differences between states.
So you think with this idea with FishMe, so they'd immediately have to get some kind of like license, even if the people are subscribing to the service. There's laws about the testing they're doing and the data they're collecting and how they're doing it, that sort of thing.
I would say that it's definitely, you can do it like this in the same way for everyone. You have to be cautious based on the legal grounds. There is some sort of differences between states, and you cannot do, let's say, something you can do in California comparing with, other states.
Yeah, like Texas.
Like a Virginia, as an example.
But even if, so you're mentioning these get out of jail free cards, that pass is just because the company is hiring them to test themselves, right?
Exactly.
So it's your own data. So the second you're doing it for another company, so if one company hires you to break into their competition, that's illegal, right? I mean,
yes.
It should be. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it should be. I mean,
that's crazy.
There is a thin line. I mean, again, there might be a decent number of shades of gray in the picture. It really depends, I'm going to give you an example. In the one which I'm thinking of, where this kind of shade of gray might come into the pictures. Let's say a company A is keeping data in the data center, right? It's a level 4 data center, which level 4 data centers is usually level 4 security data center is highly secure data center. You cannot go there like any Joe from the street. It's some sort of like, let's say AWS data center security style. And somehow you are getting access to that because the company is providing you some sort of access in one way or another. But remember, it's a data center. So basically, where you are looking, let's say you are accessing that company specific server, whatever you are doing, close to that, there is another rack with other company data and so on. Of course, the racks, they might have some sort of access cards and so on, but definitely you can reach to the point where if you are doing this kind of assessment, you definitely have the knowledge how to clone the cards. And there is so many examples of, especially at the DEF CON, when they used to clone cards in Vegas for Caesar Hotel and so on. So you can, at some degree, if you're spending a lot of knowledge and you are really dedicated to this field, you are in the position to clone that card, or, to bypass that, to open that additional the rack server. And what is stopping you, again, once you have opened that, to get access to that server? Or even more, what is stopping you to find a way to plug in something into that specific rack? Because yes, they have a huge security in the data center, but remember, everything has been built by a human. Everything what has been built by a human definitely can be reverse engineered by other. So one way or another. And always in the data centers, the way how these big environments are working, there is a lot of SCADA involved in, that kind of industrial systems connected to IoT, industrial systems connected to some sort of network and connected to something over the Ethernet protocol. Meaning that if you are like a determined individual, when you're hearing Ethernet protocol or TCP/IP, is like your eyes are popping up, and definitely you can do something. With all this stuff, looking from all the angles, I would say that this is where that specific, as I said at the beginning, this is where the concept of multiple shade of gray can come into the picture when you are doing the rating or a offensive job for a company, and you have access to some sort of data in a data center. Again, it's a data center. It's someone else's computer. Now with the FishMe business, what usually is happening is this: there is different layers of which I have seen so far about this kind of training. Fish can have a lot of forms and shapes. The easiest one is like, hey, I'm sending you some sort of fish saying, here is like amazing offer. You're gonna get a LCD for 57-inch one for $400. Go now. Just click this link and do some sort of magic, and the TV is gonna be yours. But people started not to be that stupid anymore. Let's put it that. I mean, not necessarily stupid, but it's more like they started to be like a caution. So the next level, which I'm seeing like companies are trying to nowadays to train their users, is sending something which is related to, hey, here's a document, a PDF document, which is completely fine. It's part of the document of some sort of policy document or something which is really public. But the document, the crux of that document, it's inside of the document, there is a link. So your opening document is looking perfectly like the one which you already read it, like let's say a few weeks ago, and saying our policy has been changed in regards to that kind of product or whatever. Now, let's say at the paragraph 1, line number 7, there is a link saying now you have to click on this link. And the document has been modified behind. And when you are clicking the link, this is taking you to completely different domain or completely different place. So this is more like is called in some circles a sandwich attack, meaning that they are trying to envelope, let's say something which is not necessarily good, like that kind of phishing link between two pieces of a burger, which you trust.
Information, yeah.
And it's they are with this technique is lowering your determination to find awkward things, and you basically it's increasing
because you're familiar
your trust
with it. You feel comfortable. So you're like, oh yeah, I'll click this link. Bam. I just got one of these. I mean, this is embarrassing to say on a podcast, but I just got one of these 2 weeks ago where we have, I'm in the United States, we have these little pass cards that go in our cars so we pay tolls so we don't have to use cash. And I have an Easy Pass, and I got a text from Easy Pass saying I needed to update my card. And I had just gotten a letter from the actual Easy Pass like a week before. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do it because I've been driving a lot the last couple months. And I clicked the link, and it was the Easy Drive website. Everything was the same. And I started filling in my information and realized that it was on a subdomain. So it was like easydrive.mass.easydrivemass.org. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a totally different site. And they pulled all my stuff. Right? I didn't even hit submit. They pulled it right through the form. Thankfully, I got to my credit card company before they ran up too much, but they were reporting the information live. That was super sneaky.
Spam nowadays, they started to be really, really sneaky. And one of the funny stories, and I will tell you because you have shared something, I will share something with you. I remember that at some point we were in the situation to build up a new fish for a job we had to do. And honestly, we are completely left out of ideas because the client, it was really mature in terms of security, and they had a limited number of people, I don't know, around 100 employees. All of them, they look like really geek, technical geeks. And, it was that kind of company, like security savvy, that everyone is like, I'm not going to click in any freaking link, so don't do it. everything it was in the direction like, even with the smishing or anything we thought about it, it was either way too complicated, either way like differently. What is complicated doesn't work. This is the reality in a phishing world. If it's too complicated, forget it. You have to find something. So what we did actually, we went on the internet and we did a research for companies which are offering this, phishing trainings. And many of these companies, they're offering a free account. So we register like 25-ish accounts. And I spent like 3 days of reading all the free scenarios and everything, and the templating and stuff, and trying to figure it out, to get inspired. So then we found something. Actually, we found that a guy from that company used to work as a freelancer as well on Upwork. So basically, we initiated a spear phishing against that guy coming from Upwork, and we'll build up some sort of story. And this is the way how we managed to do some circumvent or gain trust, and then to circumvent and get inside of that specific to have a foothold inside that company. But this is why, when you're looking at the phishing business, first of all, you have to have a great ideas. Something like, you have to have some sort of tiering. Let's put it that way. Tier 1, the easiest one. Tier 2, like complex ones. And the tier 3, probably something like a different type of phishing, which targeting like spear phishing, whale phishing, and there is different type of
so
deviation
you
of
couldn't
this.
automate it. Basically what I'm hearing is it couldn't just be like standard, because everyone would figure it out too fast, right? Like you need people coming up with new phishing scams all the time.
Yes.
Which is dangerous.
The reality is, if you're building the ones and everyone is picking them up very quickly, don't do it. Everyone is just no. You are spending time and researching in the wrong direction. Now, there's always a balance, like how complicated you want to do it. As a company, even as a company, because your ultimate goal is what is your ultimate goal? So that it's another question. You as a company, and also like a phishing training platform business has to have. What's your ending goal? How complex do you want to have this kind of template?
I think just awareness is, so the good thing, if we're pivoting to the positive side, the good thing about this idea is it just exposes people to different things that could capture their data. I think the bad part of this idea is then this becomes a data liability. Even if this is training you, if you put any of your information in it, then you have to make sure that that's secure too. But I think, I don't know, you probably agree, like that company you were just talking about that was pretty cyber secure, pretty technically secure, like there's got to be a way to get every company just aware of where the vulnerabilities are, just through information. Like maybe you're not collecting info, but like, maybe something more interactive than watching a video training course, because nobody pays attention to that stuff.
Yeah. So we did something for a client which it was completely different in the on the US ecosystem, and I will tell you why. So first of all, let's try to play for a couple of minutes in a movie when you are staying with at the table with the guys they are doing this, as a for the living, and you are a cybersecurity professional, and you are trying to emulate this attack and try to empower customers to understand different bits and pieces how the information can be manipulated and get inside. So from our perspective, the professionals, we are so restricted in we have so many boundaries when you are doing the exercise, and we have to ask, of course, you have to get in touch with the legal and understand what your limitation in terms of what type of information you can use during the phishing exercise. Versus the adversaries, they don't have any legal department. To be fair, they don't really care. They have only one goal, like we need to make, let's say, 3 million from wherever we nowadays. So we have to find ways to get inside of this company, or pretty straightforward business model. Now, what we did at that point in time, it was we map all the engineering technical team of that specific company, and after we mapped them, we understood what they are doing. Did they have any side jobs, or they are doing any freelancing, or there are any meetups or any kind of groups. things that are related to their hobbies, things that are related to their, let's say, personal lives, without touching, families, and as much as possible. And with the information we have collected, we went to the legal, we understood if there is anything that can put us in a very complex situation. And then we went to the company CEO and the C-level and told them, hey, listen, we have this kind of information now about your team, and we can initiate different type of phishing exercises that can go from the easy one until they can go from effectually targeting people we consider of interest and the most appealing to adversary to get phished using this information. What is your take on this? And we gave them this kind of hot intel, and gave them the ability to decide how they want to do it. I mean, what's the deeper level they want to go with this kind of exercise. And then they said, okay, we like to exclude the following ABC, but we like to see how it goes if you are taking this path. But there were only 3 people in that specific company. They knew what we are doing, and we were in constant touch with them, and everything it was done to stay in the boundaries like everyone has expected. So, but if you are looking from the other side of...
Yeah, there's a lot of risk. It seems like this is kind of dead on arrival because you're never going to get approval from everybody. And even if you do, you're still creating risks by doing this. So it seems like with you guys, like you need permission from everyone who could have a legal issue with it before you start anything.
Yes.
And there's no way a software app could do that. It's too risky.
I mean, you can do it if you want to burn a lot of money or, some sort of, this laundry money somehow. But I wouldn't do it personally. I say no, thanks, but no thanks. And with the phishing business, it's also something you have to have in mind. If someone is compromising you, remember that usually all these phishing training platforms, they are software as a service. So I will give you a hint. 99% of the service as a SaaS companies out there, they are using the concept where, a single pane of glass or multi-tenant.
Yeah.
Probably, the most advanced is multi-tenant when you're an organization and you have different departments and so on. But all the information are usually kept in the same database, no matter what type of database you have. It's a cloud or whatever. I'm yet to have seen a platform fish training as a service, something like that, in which is getting deployed in the customer account, and the customer is having 100% access, control of environment. And you, let's say me as a business, I only have the control plane. Now, most again, 99% of the SaaS business nowadays, they're following the same pattern, like a unified database and a lot of stuff over there from all the clients and so on. So if you find a way to compromise this SaaS platform, remember that you handle the keys of a huge potential empire when you can modify the payloads without making too much noise from all these phishing simulations and actually weaponize them for real. And every single time on the other threat actor, or the not the threat actor, but the users, they are using and they are trying to, the ones which are clicking on the emails, because they're people clicking, let's be honest, they are getting compromised. So you are deploying an implant and so on and so on. Until that specific company is finding it, I would say that it is already in a serious trouble. Jeez. Because see, there's an interesting perspective, the way how, I mean, you don't have to build a huge phishing underground network, and you can always go and hunt for these platforms and see which one has a very weak security in the way it has been built. And then again, just to compromise, and here we might be in the situation, have a huge press release or breaking news kind of situation. So that's why I'm saying that while phishing build up this kind of business might look quite fun, at some degree, the more you are going into and the more you are getting into more complex situations, it's slowly becoming a double-edged sword. There is a lot of liability you have to take care of. And yes, there's people which are doing absolutely amazing and they know what they are doing, but the majority of them, I would say that not quite. So it's from our perspective, it's always think outside the box. It's a nice way to put it, but I would say you have to be hungry, because the people which are doing the adversaries, again, they have a completely different chain of command, and they don't have any legal or any other obstruction on the table for which they need to have a lot of meetings and get the positive or you're like some sort of yes, you can do it. They can just do it. I mean, they're gathering together and decide, okay, let's do this, okay, let's do that. Comparing with us, which we have to go through so many steps and approvals. So that's why I'm saying that it could be, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a worthy idea, but you have to come.
I think you are. I think you're saying this is a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea too. I didn't even think about approvals. I was just thinking that like by creating vulnerabilities, you become the data liability, which you pointed out on its own. So here's what we modified. This is my closing statement on this bad idea. I think we turn this into a game, and it's a locally installed game. So it's not actually getting access to anything. There's no central database, and it lives on company servers that the company IT guy can control. But the game has a leaderboard, and it's something that like company policy, you get sent on Friday at 2:30. And the game runs you through different simulated experiences, and your job is to figure out like which ones are phishing and which ones are actual company information. And then it scores you and comes up with funny names for the way that you were scored. So like how much of your information was stolen. So it maybe like shows you naked. If someone stole all your information, you're naked at the end of it.
So
that's the way to train people or inoculate them to this sort of thing with no real information and on a local device.
If I will start a business like this, I will do it in a way of how the very old 1990 map link was done. So I would suggest, after, we are closing this chat, we just have a look into the way how that uplink game, what it's all about. And I would say that people really love to play something like that adapted to the phishing idea and so on, because while it looks like a game, it actually it's teaching you how to think like an adversary. And the more we know what it's all about, I would say the more we can bring,
the safer we can be.
Exactly. A better, safer world for us tomorrow. Because we are just a few people which are able to look in different bits and pieces and try to protect different bits and pieces. However, as a hive, definitely we can do better if you understand just the basics of what it's all about.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the target.
It's great.
Again, all right. That's number one for me. That's number one for me. I'm going to go play it. How do people get in touch with you? I mean, you clearly know your stuff. You care about this. You have a mission. If people need you to protect their company, where do they find you?
We have a website, syncubes.com, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So I'm not hard to reach. It's just, to come and say hello, and we can always have a chat. I love to chat people, honestly, and, tell different bits and pieces. We can know everything. So everyone has some great stories and can have a lot of, good times laughing.
Yeah.
And,
you have a lot. You have a lot. And I'm grateful you're here to share those with us. I think this interesting show. It's a subject a lot of people talk a big game about, but don't know so well. That's why I was so excited to get you on here, because like you really understand the space, and you can tell you're speaking from your heart. And you're not trying to sell anything. And I really value that integrity. So thank you. We'll get your links up. We'll refer some folks your way. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you very much, Nick. And yeah, it was absolutely a blast. I was nervous at the beginning, but thank you very much for making things so easy.
Yeah.